part 3 of our 4-part venture within previewing the tournament that is the biggest one that CoD has ever produced, that Treyarch or Affinity Ward has ever pulled out their CoD Championships or CoD XP weekend. Right now we have done A, B, C, D. Now we're doing E and F. And this where it gets mighty interesting. So what we're doing now with E, we have the teams FaZed Clan, Elevate, Most Wanted, and Giants. Now, this is what gets interesting for me, because the two top teams has done some very interesting things on both sides of the COD coin when you deal with LAN and online. But the issue is the other side. We'll start with FaZed. FaZed is a good online team. Now, this team should be good both ways with the team of Enable, Catch, Clayster, Zuma. This team is supposed to rival Optic for that top billing of all Call of Duty throughout Black Ops 3. But since the start of it, they've run up short for the most part. They've done okay online, but when it came to LAN, they were disappointed. Their runs that they finally get that looks like a good COD team is through the losers bracket in both Orlando and Anaheim. Clay's the leader. Clay is without a doubt a great player. The issue with Clay at times is his raw runs, which ends up for his notorious falls. And then one of his games on MLG Orlando, he ended up finishing 4-22, which turns into a Twitch meme every time a player falls in Call of Duty. They turn it from Clay to 4-22, but the guy is a very, very immense player. He's a very good slayer overall. Great slaying during S&D, which is not easy when you're talking about pure slaying, where you think about a good pure sailor, most of the slaying is done in respawns. Clayster can slay in both aspects. He can really, with his Shiva, and among other ARs, he's truly up there being one of the top killers in the game. But, again, he has these moments where he's off and the team relies on him a lot, because the issue is between Attach being a consistent SMG guy and a great sniper, quite possibly one of the top 3 snipers in the game when you think about it. Enable's good too, but he's a solid support guy. Zuma, on the other hand, has been possibly one of the more disappointing players, because you would think he'll come more as a diverse player that can really help out Clay in the kills. He hasn't. He hasn't on a consistent level like Clay has. Now, Clay's consistency is pretty special. It's not easy to replicate, but for FaZed to really make it in too far in these tournaments, you at least want Zuma not far behind in kills, because Zuma's overall a great player, especially online. So it's weird. Sorry, excuse me. But the interesting part about it too is their hardpoint play. They're a good hardpoint team online, but when they faced the Dream Team in the first round of the tournament, stage 2, they got beat pretty harshly on hardpoint, which led to their upset first round loss. They kind of struggled with that throughout all of MLG Orlando, including notably against Surprise Nation on Hardpoint Evac. Yes, Hardpoint Evac, where Slack suddenly took the game over and really took them out of their comfort zone in Hardpoint and turned it to be a rough time. Come in. Anyway, I'm sorry. So when you got that going on, and you got runs that usually ended up in the losers bracket, you don't know. But in this pool, you have a very interesting pool, even though they're mostly a bunch of unknowns. Especially when you're dealing with a team like FaZed. The second team is interesting, aka Elevate. You're in a rough spot when you're dealing with Elevate, and because it's backwards for them. They usually struggle as an online team, but when they're on LAN, they're one of the best teams out there. Top 5, definitely, and shown up with a top 3, with a second place finish at Anaheim, third place finish at Orlando. When they're finally getting there, they're a team to be reckoned with. And honestly, when they're on LAN, they're very dangerous. But online, they've been so shaky enough for them to miss the stage 2 finals on the last day. To think about this in perspective, a team that said during that first round, like an H2K, said after their first round sweep, being swept first round by Envy, is saying we didn't practice at all. LV's one of the hardest working teams in the game. They got ousted. They couldn't make stage 2 against the H2K team, who has ever since Lacefield left, switched off with Dito at first, now was with Miracles, didn't even make CoD XP. It was like, what are they doing? What are they doing? And their online struggle continued to the point they had to be forced to the losers bracket to make a run in the online qualifiers to win this, to get into CoD XP. But CoD XP's on LAN, and they're very much a confident team on LAN, especially with the player Aqua, who's without a doubt the most diverse, the most very much best player on the team, work without a doubt. And when you think about that, and you think about the wrong ones and the great sniping of a guy like Nagafen, when they start picking up, Felony can get kills, Vicento can be a good support player, they can really get things going. And now they're in the same group as FaZed, which makes things interesting, but it also makes the fact that you have a wild card in Most Wanted, which you don't know much about, but you don't know much about because they were switched from the original Most Wanted team that's now Lethal. So I'm gonna be honest, I don't know much about them. Giants Gaming, they were usually bottom feeders in stage 1 and stage 2 of the European Call of Duty World League. They're not going to be much of a factor. But the game of the group is definitely, without a doubt, FaZed Elevate. Who's going to win that group? Because I think FaZed Elevate obviously gets 1-2 into this. We're going to see what happens in that point, how things roll, and see what it can do. See what these two teams will do to each other, and what would make the group go. I mean, again, Most Wanted, Giants, wild cards, don't know what's going to happen. They couldn't. I still don't think they're good enough to make that much of a dent with two solid teams as FaZed Clan and Elevate in pool play. At the very least, FaZed Clan usually gets out of their pool enough to go to the next round. And I see them doing that again here. And of course, Elevate, they're slated. They're usually slated in these LAN events to make out the pool, usually maybe even winning. But again, that's what we'll see what happens when they face off a team like FaZed Clan in Group B, which it will be the game of the group. Definitely, FaZed Clan Elevate, must-watch game of the group. Heck, I think FaZed Clan and Elevate is the game through the pool play, because that game's really going to decide not just that group, but where they're placed in bracket play, that double elimination bracket, will be decided throughout the tournament how well teams around them going to do against them, and how well they're going to do, FaZed and Elevate going to do against them overall. So, moving on. F. Group F. Now, it's a real interesting Group F. Infused is one of the top 3 European teams out there. The team of Marky B, Zero, I think, Josh is on Splice. Yeah, Marky B, PD, Urban, and Zero. I like Marky B's leadership. He's been shown that through that team they roll with Marky B, and Zero's Slayer abilities can come through. PD's been iffy on his lane, very inconsistent, But amongst the European teams, you always know they're going to have a good showing. They had a classic battle against Splice that went to round 7, game 7, and stage 2 finals that led them to a final place facing off against Millennium. In stage 2, before losing Millennium, and Millennium swept both stage 1 and 2 in the Call of Duty World League stage finals. But FaZed has that ability to make deep tournament runs. Just watch them in their deep tournament run in Orlando. They were making the plays. They were getting things done. They were being more aggressive because usually the European style of capture the flag is much slower. It's much more still, more static. They were making aggressive plays during the grassroots capture flag that made it look like it's a North American team out there. And that's a big thing because most of these European teams have to be more aggressive to surprise these North American teams against them and capture the flag. And that's vital for them if it gets out that far. So when you're thinking about that, and think of how good FaZed is, they should end up winning the group, right? Right? Second team in this group, Caliber. Now, Team Caliber had a rough go at it, Black Ops 3. They made stage 1, but they didn't make it far. They didn't really make it much. They didn't make much noise. Stage 1, they didn't really get so far. Stage 1, and then stage 2, they didn't make it to. They ended up breaking apart the team a little bit, added different pieces now, and now this TK roster is now made up of Theory, Gunjar, Colchan, and Happy. Theory's been a part of TK from the very start. Him and Sharp's been the elder statesman. Sharp retired this year and moved back towards the streaming content role. So it's really been Theory's been the consistent one again. But Gunjar is an interesting case. He started a year with TK. Moved up and down. To make things happen consistently. He started with TK. Things didn't work out. Visa problems. Then ended up with Complexity for a little bit. Things still didn't work out. Got kicked from Complexity. Now back with Team Caliber. Colchan. Word is he's been one of the top players that not been utilized enough at TSM. I think he's a solid player myself, but he has those issues where he liked the wrong one, World Star sniping during S&D, and that was one of the bigger issues with TSM throughout that stage 2, especially when I think Elevate down 5-2 came back on them. Yeah, that was one of the weird comebacks I've ever seen, and it just that wall running, that snowing and snipe, World Star bits, it all can work so much, and that caused issues for them leading for TSM themselves, not just to break up the team, but to leave Call of Duty. And the other 3, Ivy, Weeks, and Pac-Man, stayed together. Colchan is the one left aside, and they're in the tournament in Group A, living the dream. So, I like to say that Colchan is a solid killer, slayer, good player, but I don't think he's exactly was the best.
They only come in a box, right?
So I don't
come in individual weapons over there.
Colchan was that good to really make a difference on that TSM side. But he helped Team Caliber to get to the point with former Cloud9 player Happy, who was a solid guy for them, for Cloud9, which were called Online Warriors for most of the part. They got through during online qualifiers all enough. They made a good showing there, but we're on land now. Third team in this group, Lethal Gaming, is the old Most Wanted group, and that story's been crazy. Look that up, how they turned from Most Wanted to Lethal. This team's been pushed aside a lot, but they've proven that they can make it in with the big boys. They had a solid run in the open bracket. They didn't make the pool play, but they didn't make Championship Sunday. They almost made Championship Sunday. They lost in the losers bracket. I think it was early in the it was after the open bracket play. They lost in the losers bracket, but they were thrown out a little bit. They even made it farther than the team they get brushed aside for, that censor team that was most wanted. They turned to be most wanted allies. The team I'm talking about, Lethal, is Hate, Spoof, Beeheasy, and Choo Choo. And I haven't seen enough of them because they didn't make pool play. They didn't really make it dance. They didn't really make it far to be on one of the to be streaming during MLG Orlando. I mean MLG Orlando actually at night. So I couldn't say much about them sadly, but they did better than what Censor Team did, and they did it again, taking and making that deep turn, making that deep run to get into CoD XP. But again, things got so sour between them and Most Wanted, they left it. They found an opening in their contracts and they left Most Wanted for Lethal Gaming. So now that was one thing, them leaving an organization. What about an organization that straight up dipped on them? So Tainted Minds, it's not exactly the same Tainted Minds you think. And I'll tell you why. This Tainted Minds team was actually originally Damaged, Chilean, Beast, and Fate. But here's the thing. That team is now Eminence, Killer Pie, Excite, and Gydra. This was the Terror squad that made a deep run and made qualifying through the ANZ New Zealand tournament. So what just happened there? Team Minds just swept this whole team across when they didn't make the pool, they didn't make COD XP, and just said, okay, champs, do you want our team? Do you want to? Just said, champs, we'll take you. Let's go. That's basically what happened. And I don't know much about the champ squad either, because, again, I didn't get any, there was no way to watch these games from EU and ANZ tournaments, that the online qualifiers for them, which I wish it did. I thought it'd be fun to watch. I thought it'd be great to watch to see how these Australian New Zealand teams work, but it didn't happen. For me, if I think off of knowledge alone, I still think Team Infused, Team Caliber 1 and 2. Lethal can make a threat. I think this could be a big chance to take them in the number 2 seed, but I honestly believe Team Infused will win. So, but my game of the group is Team Caliber versus Lethal. Who gets that game will get second place. That's the game in the group to watch out for. So that is my two groups that I previewed for today. I hope you liked what I've done. I can't wait for the last two groups tomorrow, which will be the two powerhouses of COD right now. Let's see. I can't wait to talk about tomorrow. I hope you enjoy. Please leave a like, leave a comment. Helps expand the channel. Helps me be a better guy, a better YouTuber. I hope to see you soon. And again, peace.